He's not your son. The words weren't shouted. They hummed from a tinny voicemail on my kitchen counter while the kettle hissed like it was holding its breath. If life ever did this to a man on a Tuesday morning, would sweet revenge stories even believe him? Ethan? Brooke's voice floated from the hallway, light and airy, like nothing ugly could live in our house. Tea or coffee? Play it again, I said. My thumb shook. The recording crackled. Paternal mismatch. We recommend verifying the chain of custody. That could be a glitch, she said, clinking a spoon against porcelain. These kits mess up all the time. Let's not spiral before the rehearsal dinner. 7 years, I said. Noah's 7. She stepped closer. Lavender hand cream, fresh hairspray. We'll call them together. Maybe their system's down. Please, breathe. The kettle screamed. I switched it off. My throat felt tight, like a collar half a size too small. Lucas is gone, I said. All I have is the story he left. I know. She touched my arm, soft. Stability first. We don't want people whispering at the church. People can whisper, I said. I need the truth. Truth can wait till after the vows, she said, smile steady. Please, for Noah. The front door opened on a gust of cold. Boxes rustled. I brought the centerpieces, Jenna called. Her perfume was sweet, heavy, and it sat under the roses like a secret. In here, Brooke sang back. Tea? Jenna set down a crate. Pale peonies, white roses. What happened? I tapped the phone. The voicemail hummed. Paternal mismatch. Jenna blinked. Her hand smoothed an order sheet, fingertips tracing the printed bouquet numbers. Those kits are theater, she said. Lucas asked me to keep things simple. Simple isn't the same as honest, I said. My heartbeat thudded in my throat. Brooke's eyes flicked to Jenna. We should call the company, and the officiant is expecting us by 6. Let's not panic. I'm not panicking. I pressed record on my voice memo app and rang the number from the email. The line picked up. I angled the phone to speaker. Thank you for calling, a calm voice said. Your results show a mismatch. For accuracy, confirm no sample mix-ups and consider a second test with legal chain of custody. Chain of custody, I said. A neutral collector, sealed bag, verified handoff, the rep said. If you need referrals, we can email options. Brooke wrapped both hands around a mug. There, see? Options. It's administrative. We'll handle it. After tonight. Email me, I told the rep. I ended the call and saved the voice memo. The name I typed was sterile. Lab, voicemail, mismatch. Jenna fussed with a stem until petals bruised. Lucas told me you'd make this complicated, she murmured. He said you like to look noble. Don't, I said. Don't rewrite him to fix this. He was messy, she said softly. He was good, but he was messy. My phone pinged. Email in. I screenshotted it with the timestamp. Then I took another of the screenshot itself, catching the tiny clock numbers twice, belt and suspenders. Please, Brooke said, voice honey-sweet. Let's not turn this into, She gestured vaguely. Scandal. Scandals are for lies, I said. Truth is quiet. She glanced at the clock. Rehearsal in 3 hours. I opened my banking app and set an alert on Noah's Education Trust. Any withdrawal, any attempt, I wanted a ping. It felt ridiculous and necessary at the same time. The little toggle clicked green. Jenna watched me. That's not protection, I said, for him. She lifted her chin. We all want that. Then don't ask me to be blind. The house was too warm. The roses' scent stacked in the air until I needed a window. I cracked one. Cold slipped in and brushed my wrists. Remember when you taught him to tie his shoes? Brooke said softly. He cried. You told him laces were bridges, and you don't run across a bridge until it's tied. I could still feel the tug of those tiny laces on my fingers. his small breath on my knee. The way he said, again. "Don't weaponize that," I said. "I'm reminding you that love is bigger than a mouthy voicemail," she said with a thin smile. "It's also bigger than pretending," I said. Jenna flipped a page. "Lucas said Noah wasn't ready for paternity questions. He asked us to keep things simple for a while." 7 years is not a while," I said. "Children need quiet, not heroes." My palm stung where I'd been pressing the phone too hard. I loosened my grip. I opened a new note and typed a line I didn't mean to write. "When the truth lands, protect Noah first." I saved it. Brooke's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, smiled, then tucked it away. "The officiant says the quartet is early. Lights will be warm amber. It'll be beautiful." "Lighting doesn't disinfect," I said. "It calms people," she said. "Small mercies matter when families are stressed." "Call your attorney," Jenna said to me. "Ask what a mismatch means legally. Maybe nothing." I reached Claire's contact and hit call, straight to voicemail. "Claire, it's me. I need you to hear this memo from the lab. Call back." I saved that as well. The kettle had cooled. I poured water anyway, if only to do something that obeyed rules. Steam rose, soft as a sigh. "Ethan," Brooke said, stepping closer, lowering her voice. "Please, don't bring this up tonight. I'm asking for grace." "Grace isn't silence," I said. "It can be," she said, "for a night." I looked at the roses, the bruised petals Jenna had worried. A single brown edge curling like a tongue. The front hallway thudded, small feet. "Dad?" Noah's voice, bright. "Can we practice the ring thing?" My chest tightened and loosened at the same time. "Yeah, buddy," I said. "We can practice." He barreled in, hair sticking up, shirt untucked. He smelled like clean cotton and crayons. He skidded to the rug and grinned. "I get to carry it in a pillow." "Carefully," Brooke said, cheerfully. "No drops." He froze. "No drops," he echoed. I crouched. "Hey," I said. "Bridges, remember?" "Bridges are slow," he said. "Bridges are careful," I said. He nodded solemnly. "Careful." Jenna watched us, something guarded in her face. She stopped herself. She swallowed. "He looks happy." "Happy is honest," I said quietly. Brooke set a mug beside me. "Drink." I didn't. My mouth felt like paper. "Rehearsal at 6, she said again, softer. "Let's keep today light." Light. Like the email on my screen. Like the timestamp I'd captured twice. Like a chain of custody I could feel closing around us. I rose. My knees cracked. "After lunch," I said, "I'm calling the lab again. Legal chain. Independent. No kits that can be glitches." Brooke's smile thinned. "That's dramatic." "It's precise," I said. Jenna folded her arms. "Lucas trusted me." "I trusted you," I said. Silence landed. It didn't feel clean. It felt heavy. Noah tugged my sleeve. "Do we practice?" "We do," I said. Slow. He placed an invisible pillow in my hands. He walked a line on the rug, eyes on his feet, tongue between his teeth. I swallowed against the ache in my throat. Brooke leaned against the island, watching us with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "See?" she whispered. "Quiet." I let the words sit. Quiet wasn't peace. It was just noise with the volume turned down. When Noah wandered off to hunt for his shoes, I tapped the banking app again, double-checking the alert. Toggle green. Email confirmed. Voice memo saved. Screenshots saved. Note saved. 3 small acts of control on a morning that had none. Brooke collected the bruised rose and dropped it in the bin. The soft thud felt like a period. "After vows," she said, "we'll sit and sort it with your attorney. I promise." Promises felt light today. They slid off the counter and broke on the floor. "Ethan," Jenna said quietly, "he needs you steady." "I am steady," I said. My voice didn't shake. My hands did. I tucked them into my pockets where they could tremble alone. The window was still cracked. A thin draft stroked my wrists. The house smelled like cut roses and steeping tea. Somewhere, a neighbor's mower droned like a far-off storm. Shock has a sound. It's ceramic on ceramic, spoon on cup, the click of a phone camera taking a screenshot, because if the world is going to tilt, it should do it on record. I hit forward on the lab email and sent it to my private archive. Subject line: "If I forget, remind me." When I looked up, Brooke was watching me with a look I couldn't place. Not fear, not guilt. Calculation, maybe. Like she was measuring the room, the light, the angles. "Don't make this ugly," she said. "It already is," I said. I turned the phone face down. I listened to my breath until the pace slowed. I felt my heartbeat travel from throat to chest to ribs, like it was climbing back into its seat. "I'm going to the office," I said. "Half an hour." "For what?" Brooke asked. "Printer," I said. "Paper." Jenna scoffed. "Receipts," she muttered. The word sat between us. I let it. When the door closed behind me, the outside air tasted different, colder, cleaner. The steering wheel leather was cool under my palms. I sat there, eyes closed, and pictured laces again. Small bridges, careful steps. Shock doesn't last. It cracks. Under it, something harder forms. I turned the key. The engine hummed. The day moved forward, whether I wanted it to or not. "Stability isn't a muzzle," I said, palms sweating on the steering wheel outside St. Mark's, the stone steps throwing back the morning chill. Brooke's hand rested on the doorframe. "Can we not start a war in a church parking lot?" Her breath smelled like peppermint, too clean for what we were doing. "I'm asking questions," I said, "not lighting torches." Inside, the narthex was drafty, old wood and lemon polish. Reverend Hale waved from the side aisle, smile pastoral and thin. "Big day," he called. "Big day," Brooke echoed brightly. Jenna was already there, clipboard in hand, perfume sweet and heavy under the cold air. "The florist needed final counts," she said, not looking at me. "We need final truths," I said. Brooke's fingers brushed my wrist. "Please." One word, soft, a leash. Reverend Hale ambled over. "Everything all right?" "Just logistics," Brooke said, smile gentle enough to make doubt feel rude. "Don't make this about you," Jenna said to me, eyes flicking like shutters. "Lucas wanted quiet. He told me, well, you like to wear the hero cape." "Lucas asked me to keep him honest," I said. Her mouth pressed thin. "He was grieving. He said a lot of things." A string quartet rehearsed 2 rooms over, the notes echoing like birds in an atrium. Sound bled into everything, soft enough to blur edges. Brooke sighed. "If this spreads before Vows, it will crush reputations. Mine, yours, Noah's, sponsors, guests. Please don't reduce our lives to whispers." "Whispers happen when truth gets strangled," I said. She tilted her head, sympathetic. "Let's promise to table it until after. I've scheduled a quiet room at the inn, away from everyone. Reverend Hale can sit with us. We'll go through it with compassion." "Compassion isn't a postponement," I said. Hale cleared his throat. "Truth and timing both matter. Perhaps we pray for patience." Patience tasted like chalk. I stepped into the side hall, opened my email, and forwarded the chain of custody options to a private archive. Then to Claire with a note. "Need legal collection, neutral site, today if possible." I snapped a timed screenshot of the forward, the seconds ticking in the corner like a metronome. Brooke followed, heels soft on old stone. "What are you doing?" "Saving things where memory can't argue," I said. "Receipts," Jenna muttered as she passed. "You men and your paper shields." A volunteer usher adjusted aisle candles, the faint scent of smoke threading the lemon polish. The light felt kinder than it should. "Jenna," I said, keeping my voice low, "did you ever use Noah's Fund?" She went still for a heartbeat. "For what?" "Anything," I said. "Lawyers, fees, emergencies." Her eyes cut to Brooke, then back. "I don't have access." "You signed as a contingency guardian," I said. "You had view rights." "That's not access," she said, too quickly. Reverend Hale drifted away, sensing weather. The quartet hit a sour note, then recovered. Brooke stepped between us like a buffer. "Let's not cross-examine each other in a church," she said, coaxing. "Please." "Outside, then," I said. We stepped onto the steps. Cold air trimmed the heat off my anger. A delivery van idled at the curb, diesel breath grumbling. "Lucas told me not to tell you everything," Jenna said suddenly, as if the air squeezed it out of her. "He said you'd make it worse." "What did he not want me to know?" I asked. She glanced at Brooke. Brooke's face smoothed. "Grief talks nonsense," Brooke said quickly. "We all said impossible things." "That's not an answer," I said. Jenna's throat worked. "He said," she swallowed, "he said he didn't want questions about ready and timelines and—" "Timelines?" I said. The word clicked in my teeth. "Stop," Brooke said, a smile stapled to her voice. "This is not the moment. This is exactly the moment." A familiar voice rose behind me. Martin, family friend, carrying a garment bag. "Morning," he said, breath warm with coffee. "Parking's a nightmare." "Martin," Brooke said, relief flashing, "you're early." "Luck," he said, then looked at me. "You all right?" "Define all right," I said. He squinted. "This about that clinic argument you two had after the funeral?" he asked Brooke, too casually. 10 years and I still hear that echo." Brooke's smile thinned, then rebounded. "We argued about paperwork," she said lightly. "Everyone did." "What paperwork?" I asked. My fingers tingled, a cold rush down the arms. Martin shrugged, sensing he'd stepped into something. "Who signs what? That's all I remember. Might have misheard." "You misheard," she said. I opened my notes app and typed, "Martin, clinic, who signs what, after funeral, date approximate." I stamped the time. I took a quick photo of the church steps and attached it, anchoring the memory to a place. "Don't turn grief into gossip," Brooke said to Martin, voice sweet with a barb. He lifted a hand. "My mouth gets ahead of me," he said, wincing. "Forget I said anything." Noted. The delivery van honked. The driver waved for space. Sound ricocheted off stone. For a second, no one spoke. Brooke smoothed the front of her coat, like she could iron the day flat. "Here's the compromise," she said softly. "After vows, we sit down privately with Reverend Hale and Claire. No audience, no heat. We handle the test, the terms. We protect Noah first." "You keep saying protect," I said. "From what?" "From being a headline," she said. "From judgment. From you, if you turn this into a performance." I laughed once, no humor in it. "I'm the risk." Jenna's voice softened, a tactic I recognized, fake care worn like velvet. "We know you love him," she said. "We're trying to spare you regret." "Regret comes from lies," I said. The church door creaked. Reverend Hale peered out. "We're ready for a run-through," he said. 5 minutes? "We'll be in," Brooke said brightly, then lower to me. "Please." I nodded. Not agreement, just motion. Inside, the air was warmer again. The quartet hit to Pachelbel. The in-world noise would cover a lot later. Not all, but enough to keep dignity from shattering into spectacle. In a side pew, I forwarded an old email thread from Lucas to my archive. The last unsent draft loaded like a ghost. A single line he'd typed and never sent. "When the truth lands, protect Noah first." My throat tightened. I saved it twice. Brooke slid in beside me, whisper soft. "Thank you," she breathed, mistaking quiet for surrender. "Type truth if light beats the dark," I whispered, into the varnished wood, not to anyone in particular, but to the steady shape forming in my chest. Rehearsal began. Candles trembled in their glass sleeves each time a door opened and the draft walked the aisle. The room smelled like wax and polish, and a hint of perfume that wouldn't let go. "Dearly beloved," Reverend Hale intoned for practice, voice round with habit. Brooke smiled at me across the center. The smile asked me to be gentle with the narrative, to be complicit, to be useful. I kept my hands loose at my sides, the bones of each finger aware, the tendons tight, then soft. When rehearsal ended, Martin drifted close, guilt in his eyes. "Forget my mouth," he said, truly. "Did you drive her somewhere?" I asked quietly, back then. His jaw flexed. A small nod. Almost nothing. "Years blur," he said. "Don't hold me to ghosts." Brooke appeared at my elbow instantly, smile bright enough to blind. "Photos," she chirped. "Candids for the board." We posed under the amber lights. Social pressure pressed like a warm hand on the back of my neck, guiding my head into place, smoothing the expression. In pictures, truth always looks like a bad angle. As people drifted toward the hall for coffee and cookies, I slipped into a side office, dialed the lab, and arranged the legal test. Neutral collector, sealed bag, verified handoff. Today. I logged every detail in a new note, then emailed it to Claire with the subject, "Chain of custody set, stand by." When I came out, Brooke's eyes searched my face. "Better?" she asked. "Clearer," I said. Jenna handed me a seating chart. "Sign off?" she asked, tone all business now, as if logistics could dam a river. I took the pen. The plastic felt thin, cheap, like it could snap if held too hard. I signed anyway. Bridges are careful, steps are small, but they move. "You once said the truth would be too expensive," Martin said, breath faintly mint with a whiskey edge as we crossed the inn lobby toward the private conference room the lab had booked. "I said paperwork was," Brooke replied, smoothing the silk at her wrist like she could erase wrinkles from facts. "Chain of custody," I told the receptionist. "Ethan Carter, legal collector at noon." My phone buzzed with a calendar reminder like a tap on the shoulder. She slid a clipboard across cool marble. "Sign here, sir." The pen felt heavier than it should, balanced and calm. Jenna hovered, perfume sweet and stubborn in the recycled air. "This is overkill," she murmured. "You're frightening yourself for nothing." "Fear isn't the point," I said. "Clarity is." A licensed collector in a navy polo appeared with a sealed kit. "Standard protocol," he said evenly. "We'll verify IDs, record the handoff, and log the tamper evidence seal." "Perfect," I said. I opened my notes, time-stamped his name, badge number, and the seal code, then took a quick photo of the sticker before it left the backing. The adhesive gleam caught the overhead light. Brooke touched the back of my elbow, a pressure that wanted to be read as care. "Can we do this without dramatics?" "This is paperwork," I said. "Your word." We swabbed. The world shrank to cotton against cheek, the sterile scent of alcohol prep pads, and the soft crackle of a plastic envelope. Noah sat on a chair with a juice box, legs swinging, oblivious to the way every exhale lodged in my ribs. "Good job, buddy," I said. The collector sealed everything, pressed the tamper sticker, and signed the log. He passed me a duplicate. "Courier pickup is at the gate at 1, he said. "Do not intercept. Direct handoff." "I'll be there," I said. I saved a reminder and set a second alarm 5 minutes earlier. In the corridor, Martin leaned against the wall, hands in pockets, eyes scanning the carpet pattern like it hid answers. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm functioning. It'll do." Brooke stepped into my space, smile soft, voice lower. I spoke to the quartet. They can add an extra hymn to give Reverend Hale time to adjust if needed. We're all working toward peace here. "Peace isn't a playlist," I said. She blinked, then offered a careful laugh. "You're right." She looked at Jenna. "Let's get Noah a biscuit." When they turned the corner, Martin exhaled. "You heard me wrong earlier," he said. "I shouldn't have said clinic." "Then say what you meant," I said. The hallway was cool, the air conditioning humming like a distant thought. "I mean, there was a place," he said. "Paperwork, like she said. I drove because she asked. That's all." "When?" I asked. He rubbed his cheek. "After the funeral or before? Hell." He winced. "Don't weaponize it." "Truth isn't a weapon," I said, though in my chest it felt sharp. My phone vibrated. Bank alert. A small test withdrawal had pinged, not processed, from Noah's Trust. Denied for incorrect credentials, flagged as suspicious. The date line glowed against my skin. Jenna's name floated up in my mind like a piece of old driftwood. I took a screenshot, then another that captured the seconds. I felt my jaw set. "Problem?" Martin asked. "Attempted access," I said. "Blocked." He swore under his breath. "Talk to her in private." "I will," I said. We stepped out into the bright, flat afternoon. Heat rolled off the asphalt. At the property gate, the courier van idled, white paint glaring. The driver hopped out, clipboard ready. "Pick up for Carter," he said. The collector appeared with the sealed bag. He and the driver cross-checked codes aloud. I recorded the readout quietly on my phone. Click, click, each digit a stare. Brooke drifted up from the path, waving. "You got it sorted," she said. She reached toward the bag with a polite, helpful smile. "Do you need a signature?" "Already signed," the collector said, pulling the bag a fraction closer to his body. His eyes flicked to me. "Direct handoff only." "Of course," Brooke said smoothly, hand retreating. The smile didn't change, but something behind it did. I lifted my phone and took a photo of the handoff. The sun washed the screen. I took another. "All set," I said, to the courier. "Airport run," he said, tapping the bag lightly with a knuckle. "It'll move quick." "Thank you," I said. He slid into the van and rolled away. Dust lifted, then settled, like a breath let out. Brooke turned to me, palms open. "See? No drama." "You tried to sign," I said. "Why?" "I was being helpful," she said, light as air. "They looked lost." "They looked employed," I said. Jenna joined us, holding Noah's hand and a napkin-wrapped biscuit. "He's sticky," she said, lips curling. "Wash up before the church." Noah wriggled free and ran toward the fountain. The water's chatter softened the edges of the day. I watched the way the sun lit his hair, how the splash marked his sleeves. The fear hit clean. What happens to his sense of home when the story changes shape? "Don't let him get soaked," Brooke called, sweetness with a thread of steel. I walked to the fountain, crouched, and wiped his fingers with the corner of my handkerchief. "Careful," I said. "Bridges." "Bridges are careful," he repeated. "Trust easy as breathing." Back on the path, Jenna's phone lit up. She turned it face down. "We should finalize the escort list," she said, business clipped, eyes not quite meeting mine. "Did you try to access Noah's fund this week?" I asked, level. Her chin rose. "I told you I don't have access." "You have just enough to trip an alert when you try," I said, holding up my screen. The denied attempt glowed in clean font. Color flushed her neck. "That could be anyone." "It required your recovery email," I said. "Don't lie." Brooke stepped between us, palms out. "We don't need a scene," she said, voice velvet. "If Jenna tried to view something, she was worried. We all are." "Worried people ask," I said. "They don't reach." Jenna's eyes filled, anger brightening them. "I have protected Noah since my husband died," she said, each word a plank. "I have done it with casseroles and calendars and grit. You swoop in with your paperwork and pretend you're the only adult." "I've been here every morning and night," I said quietly. "Don't erase that because it makes you feel better." She flinched, then blinked hard and looked away. "This is about optics to you." "It's about a boy," I said. Martin cleared his throat. Maybe we... Don't, Brooke said sharply, then softened it. Please, everyone breathe. She took my hand. Her fingers were cool, careful. After the vows, we'll sit with Reverend Hale and Claire. We will handle the trust and the test like civilized people. Civilized people don't intercept couriers, I said. She smiled. I didn't. My phone buzzed again. The lab confirmed intake. Chain of custody intact. Estimated time to preliminary, 24 hours. I saved the email, screenshotted, forwarded to Claire. Then I saved a voice memo. Intake confirmed. Brooke attempted proximity to handoff. No breach. Type receipts if paper beats perfume, I said under my breath, more to steady myself than to summon anything. The words settled like a weight on the day. We walked the path toward the parking lot. The sun pressed on the back of my neck. The air tasted like hot stone. A leaf blower roared somewhere, turning talk into fragments. In the car, I peeled the gate's signature sticker Brooke had signed earlier, another delivery, days ago, off my dash where I'd stuck it for reference. I photographed it against the steering wheel leather, then placed it in an envelope marked Gate, Brooke, Signature, Date. Simple things steadied me. Labels, edges, the dry drag of pen on envelope. At home, the house smelled like roses and stale coffee. I opened a drawer, slid the envelope beside the notarized copy of Noah's trust terms, and set a fresh legal pad on the counter. 3 columns. Test, trust, timeline. I wrote under timeline, Lucas's unsent draft. Protect Noah first. Martin, clinic drive, after funeral. Jenna, access attempt, denied. Brooke, gate signature, intercept attempt, weeks ago. My hand slowed. The pen left a small ink pool where it rested. I breathed until my chest loosened. Brooke set a glass of water by my elbow. Hydrate, she said, a nurse from a life we didn't have. Thank you, I said. The water was lukewarm, tasting faintly of copper. She leaned a hip against the island. You love him, she said. Don't let this turn you into someone he can't recognize. Someone honest? I asked. Someone hard, she said. Children bruise on hard edges. I'm not the edge here, I said. She reached, touched my shoulder, let her fingers rest. I know you think I'm the problem, she said softly. I'm trying to be the solution. Solutions don't need lies, I said. Jenna came in with Noah's backpack, the zipper clacking like small teeth. We need to leave in 20 minutes, she said. Traffic. Ready, I said. I slid the labeled envelope into my inside jacket pocket. The paper settled against my ribs like a quiet promise. On the porch, air shifted cooler. A breeze lifted the edge of the welcome mat. I looked at the street, the neat hedges, the ordinary skin of the day. Somewhere, a dog barked twice, then stopped. Shock had left room for hurt. Hurt was slower. It sat in the bones and waited. I locked the door. The key turned smooth, as if nothing inside had changed. The nails on your glass sound like a clock, I said at the rehearsal dinner, watching Brooke tap a slow, precise rhythm as amber lights warmed the room into soft forgiveness. It's nerves, she said, smile glowing, the ring of her laugh almost bell-clear over the clink of cutlery and the low hum of 100 polite conversations. Or countdown, I said. Reverend Hale raised a toast at the head table, his voice gentle, praising Brooke's steadfast heart, calling the union a testament to grace. Applause fluttered like birds in a rafter shadow. Steadfast, Brooke echoed, savoring the word like a sweet. Claire slipped into the chair beside me, her coat still cool from outside air, eyes trained on me with the kind of concern that doesn't announce itself. Play me the memo, she murmured. I cupped a hand over my phone and pressed play. The lab's voice spilled out, calm and clinical. Mismatch. Legal chain. Neutral collector. Verify handoff. Claire listened, face unreadable, then nodded once. Notarize your log, she whispered. Every call, every transfer, every name. Keep the chain tight. It's tight, I said. Good, she said. If you have to go public, keep it clean. No theatrics. No theatrics, I said. My throat still tasted like copper from earlier, a lingering tang under the wine. Jenna arrived with a smile that didn't land. "Speeches in 10, she said, laying a printed list between my plate and my hand. Her perfume pressed against the roasted rosemary air. "Jenna," I asked quietly, "why did you try to access the trust?" She didn't flinch. She just blinked slowly, as if the lids might buy time. "To see if there was a legal fund," she said, "in case this blew up." "It already blew up," I said. "Not publicly," she said, chin lifting, "and hopefully not at all." "Hope isn't a plan," I said. Brooke leaned in, her dress whispering when she moved, silk against chair. "After Vows," she said, in the tone you use with someone skittish, "we'll sit with Reverend Hale and Claire. I already booked a private parlor at the inn." "Private parlor," I repeated, "to make hard things soft?" "To make true things bearable," she said softly. Servers wove between tables. The room smelled like butter and char and lemon. In the corner, the quartet tuned. A sliver of feedback squealed from a speaker, then died. The social noise washed around us like warm surf, softening edges, buying anyone who needed it the cover of plausible whispers. Claire set a small notary stamp on the linen between us. "It's legal," she said at my look. "Mobile notary. You'll need it later." "Thank you," I said, meaning more than the stamp. Brooke turned her glass in her hands, the thin stem catching light. "I spoke to the coordinator," she said. "If Vows need a pause, the quartet can fill. We're prepared." "Prepared for truth," I said. "Prepared for calm," she said. Martin ambled up, tie loosened, mouth set in the line of a man who wanted to be anywhere else. "Reverend's looking for you," he told me, then lowered his voice. "You okay?" "I'm steady," I said, and felt it be true for the first time that day. "Good," he said. "Steady is rare." Jenna took the mic for announcements. "We're grateful you're here," she said, voice bright, the kind that makes people feel part of a tidy story. "Let's keep tonight joyful and tomorrow sacred." Sacred. The word sat heavy next to the other one. Mismatch, like two magnets refusing to click. Claire leaned closer, her breath a whisper of mint. "Your bank alert?" "Denied attempt," I said, flagged. Her recovery email. "Documented?" she asked. "Screenshots," I said, forwarded to archive. "Good," she said. She tapped the notary stamp with a fingertip. "Log it." I opened my legal pad under the table and wrote, "Notary present. Log to be stamped post-dinner." Then I slipped the pad back, the paper rasping dry under my palm. Reverend Hale approached our table, smile softened by years of practice. "A word?" he asked. We stepped aside near a column wrapped in eucalyptus and fairy lights. "Whatever is happening," he said quietly, "I can accommodate a short statement if needed. Brief, dignified." "You believe me?" I said, partly a question. "I believe vows require truth," he said, honest as a clear window. "Thank you," I said, the words landing like a new kind of air in my lungs. Back at the table, Brooke's smile found me automatically. "Well?" she asked. "He'll accommodate," I said. "So will I," she said, soft, "within reason." "Define reason," I said. "No bloodletting," she said, the joke landing flat. Speeches began. Toasts came like small lacquered boats, safe, pretty, designed to float. Laughter rose and fell in gentle waves. The napkin between my fingers felt dry and sturdy, fabric with purpose. My phone buzzed with a new email. Noah's Trust, activity report, weekly summary attached. I didn't open it yet. I simply slid the phone closer, as if nearness could make the truth more manageable. Jenna took her seat, face arranged, spine straight. "You're not going to ruin this," she said, not quite under her breath. I'm going to tell the truth, I said. Same thing tonight, she said. Ruin. Tomorrow's built on tonight, I said. She looked away first. Between courses, Claire leaned in. If you must show anything, she said, show only what people can process. 1 or 2 pieces. The whole chain belongs on paper, not in the air. Understood, I said. Brooke's hand found my knee under the table, a soft squeeze like a plea. Please choose mercy. Mercy for Noah, I said. For all of us, she said. Servers cleared plates, the white porcelain clinking like distant bells. The room was a field of small sounds, laughter like wind through grass, chairs scuffing, ice settling in glasses with tiny sighs. After we cut the cake, Jenna said briskly, we'll do a quick rehearsal of the processional in the hall, just to tighten spacing. 10 minutes. Fine, I said. When dessert came, a lemon tart with a glossy, careful sheen, I realized my jaw had unclenched. Righteous calm had a temperature, not cool exactly, but even, body warm, like a hand that had stopped shaking. Brooke leaned in to kiss my cheek for a photo. Her lipstick smelled faintly of vanilla. Smile, she whispered. I let my mouth find a neutral shape. The camera clicked. The moment passed. After coffee, Claire and I slipped into a side office. She stamped my log. Each entry clicked and pressed into paper. We photocopied it and slid one copy into an envelope with the gate sticker and trust summary. The envelope made a neat stack against my ribcage when I tucked it into my jacket. Neat is power, Claire said quietly. Neat is oxygen, I said, surprising myself. In the hall, the quartet tested the processional. Reverend Hale stood near the doors, hands folded, eyes on the room like a shepherd counting sheep. He caught my eye and gave the smallest nod. Brooke floated over, dress soft and bright under the amber lights. After vows, she said again, gentler this time, like a lullaby. We sit, I promise. Promises were feathers tonight. They drifted and settled where they wanted. Type justice if vows deserve names that are true, I murmured, testing the words in my head, making sure they tasted like something I could say without bitterness. They did. When we left the hall, the night outside had cooled just enough to lift the hair on my arms. The dim parking lot lights carved everything into clean shapes. The air smelled like cut grass and exhaust. Jenna walked ahead, phone to her ear, voice low and urgent. Martin lingered by the curb, hands jammed into his pockets, face tilted up as if answers lived near the streetlight. Tomorrow, Brooke said, slipping her arm through mine, her hand light at my elbow. We walk the aisle, we say the words, we choose the quiet path. Quiet isn't honest by default, I said. It can be kind, she said. Kindness without truth is theater, I said. She paused, then nodded as if we'd agreed when we hadn't. Sleep, she said, for him. For him, I said, and meant it from a place that had nothing to do with anyone else at all. Back home, I hung my jacket on the chair and pressed my palm flat to the envelope through the fabric. Paper against bone, proof against doubt. The house was quiet enough to hear the refrigerator hum and the click of the hallway thermostat. I poured a glass of water. The tap hissed, then steadied. I leaned against the counter and let the day replay, in clipped scenes, quick cuts, no slow motion. Every escalation had a new tactic. Every defense had a seam. Every promise had a cost. I turned off the kitchen light. The room shifted from amber to blue. The roses on the island looked like ghosts. My heartbeat settled into a slow, even rhythm that felt like the beginning of a plan and the end of an illusion. The independent lab excludes you and Lucas as paternal relatives, Claire read from the preliminary email on my phone the next morning, her voice level as the soft hum of the office air vent. It also logs an attempted intercept at the gate, I said, tapping the attached chain of custody audit with my thumb. Claire's eyes lifted. Chain holds, she said. That's what matters. Clean, documented, notarized. My heartbeat didn't spike this time. It settled into a steady drum under my ribs, slow and sure. Clean, I repeated. The office smelled like paper and coffee. Sun slid across the desk in a neat rectangle. I filed the preliminary under a folder labeled Names That Are True. Brooke texted, "Breakfast in the garden? Peace before the day?" The text felt like a white flag shaped into a bow. I replied, 10 minutes. Outside, dew clung to the lawn, cold against my shoes. Brooke stood near the hydrangeas, coat belted, face open and careful. "You didn't sleep," she said softly. "I slept enough," I said. She took my hand. Her fingers were cool. "Let's make a deal," she murmured. "We do not speak of labs or chains until after vows. Then we sit with Reverend Hale and Claire and handle everything. We protect Noah first." "Protecting him means naming what's true," I said. "Later," she said, the word warm as a blanket. "Please." "Claire has the packet," I said. "Voice memo, screenshots, chain logs, bank alert, all of it." Something flickered behind her eyes, then smoothed. "Why would you need a packet at a wedding?" she asked lightly. "So no one argues with air," I said. Jenna came through the side gate, sunglasses despite the pale morning. "You're both early," she said, voice brisk. "Florist needed approval for the arch." "We need to talk about the trust," I said. She stilled, then lifted her chin. "I looked," she said. The words pushed out like stones. "You didn't ask," I said. "I was afraid you'd say no and call me a thief," she said, mouth tightening. "Useful isn't secret," I said. She blew out a breath and took off her sunglasses. Her eyes were tired, ringed with worry. "Lucas asked me to keep you from burning everything down," she said, voice quieter. "I failed at that, even when he was alive." "Lucas wrote a draft he never sent," I said. "It said, 'When the truth lands, protect Noah first.' That's what I'm doing." Her shoulders dropped a fraction. "If I tell you something ugly," she said, "will you throw it at the world today?" "No," I said. "Not today. Not like that." She looked at Brooke, then at me. "I knew," she said, each syllable clipped. "Not the who, not for sure, but I knew Noah wasn't Lucas's. I told Brooke we should tell you years ago. She said the past couldn't be untangled without ruining what you were building." Brooke's breath drew in, small and sharp. "That's not the conversation we had," she said, calm, stretched thin. "It is," Jenna said, eyes bright. "We stood in that clinic parking lot and you said, if he finds out, he'll leave." The word clinic hit like a bell in a quiet church. Soundless, but everything shook. "Parking lot?" I said. Jenna's face changed. Regret. Real this time. "I shouldn't have said that," she whispered. Brooke's chin lifted, her calm shifting into something colder. "You're misremembering," she said, smooth as glass. "It was paperwork. We were drowning, and you needed me to hold the pen." "Whose name did you hold it for?" I asked. A car door slammed out front, mundane and loud. The morning went on, like mornings do. Claire called. I put her on speaker. "Preliminary confirms exclusion," she said. "Chain of custody is clean. If you choose to disclose, keep it spare. 1 page, 2 tops. No photos unless absolutely needed." "Understood," I said. "Also," she added, "the courier audit flagged an attempted intercept at the gate. Someone approached during handoff and was rebuffed. It's logged against the time you sent me that photo yesterday." Brooke's face didn't move. Not a muscle. "I walked by," she said. I waved. "You two are conspiracy artists." "Patterns aren't conspiracies," I said. Martin texted. "Running late. Needed gas. Head full of ghosts. Sorry." I pocketed the phone. The legal pad on the patio table fluttered in a cool draft. I flipped it to a clean page and wrote at the top. Statement. Vows require names that are true. Bullet points, not paragraphs. Calm, not heat. Brooke poured coffee with steady hands. The smell was dark and warm. "You'll humiliate us," she said, softly. "You will humiliate him." "I won't say a name that doesn't belong," I said. Noah shuffled out in socks, hair a-tumble, eyes puffy. "Is it today?" he asked. "It's today," I said. My voice softened on its own. "You ready for your bridge walk?" He smiled, small and bright. "Bridges are careful." "They are," I said. Brooke watched us, something soft flaring and then shuddering in her face. "He loves you," she said, "even if a lab doesn't." "Love isn't a lab," I said. She set the pot down and looked past me toward the street. "Lucas was reckless," she said, tone turning clinical. "He blew up rooms with his feelings. You pick locks with yours. Different routes, same destination. Chaos." "Truth is not chaos," I said. Jenna's phone buzzed on the table, skittering against metal. She flipped it, red and blanched. "Don't ask me to lie in church," she said. "I won't." "I'm not," I said. Brooke smoothed the belt of her coat, a small, deliberate motion. "If you do this during vows," she said evenly, "I will never forgive you." The line landed in the air and kept ringing. "Forgiveness isn't the currency here," I said. She stared at me, and for a second the mask slipped. Exhaustion, fear. And behind those, a ledger, columns of risk and reward she'd been balancing for years. "Tell me who his father is," I said. Silence. The garden held its breath. A bee hovered near the hydrangea, then moved on. "I don't know," she said, finally, each word precise. "It was a bad month. Everything broke at once." Jenna closed her eyes. "That's the truth," she said, voice raw. I felt something cold leave my chest. Not relief, not yet, but direction. A line forward where there had been only fog. "Then the only name that matters in this conversation is mine," I said. "The one I've been answering to for 7 years." The day began to move faster, the way days do when schedules take over. Suits and ties, small talk and logistics, hairspray and pins. The quiet machine of ritual warming up. Before we left, I slipped the packet into my inside pocket. 1-page summary, notarized log copy, bank alert printout, courier audit excerpt. No photos, no drama. Just names and times, and a single sentence, ready if needed. "Vows require names that are true." Claire texted, "Reverend Hale agrees to a brief statement, if necessary. 1 crowd reaction, 1 officiant reaction, then decisions. Keep it tight." "Copy," I wrote back. On the drive, the car smelled like starch and cologne. Noah hummed under his breath in the back seat, small and steady. I watched him in the mirror, the way he traced shapes on the window fog with one finger. Lines that vanished as the glass cleared. At the church, light pooled in the narthex like warm water. The quartet tuned. People smiled and touched my arm, said words like proud and blessed, as if language could keep the floor from shifting. Reverend Hale found me by the side door. "If you speak," he murmured, "speak as if you were reading a bedtime story to a child you love. Simple, true, no sharp edges." "I can do that," I said. "Then you'll be heard," he said. Martin slipped in, eyes shadowed. He touched my shoulder. "I drove her," he said, voice low, confession crowding his throat. "I drove Brooke to a clinic the month Noah was conceived." Brooke stood across the hall, bouquet in hand, veil catching light. She didn't look over. "Thank you," I said to Martin, "for the truth." He swallowed. "I should have said it years ago." "Most of us should have," I said. I stepped into the side room and closed the door. It was quiet enough to hear the HVAC whisper and the faint brush of my jacket lining when I moved. I took the packet out and read the top line. "Statement for vows, names that are true." My hands were steady, my throat was open, my breath was even. When I slipped the packet back, the paper settled against my ribs. Not a weapon, a boundary. I looked at myself in the mirror, tie straight, eyes clear, mouth set in something that wasn't anger anymore. It was a promise. "Bridges are careful," I whispered. Outside the door, the music shifted. The cue. Time to walk. The aisle glowed like it held its own breath, the string quartet laying a soft path through the air, as Reverend Hale lifted his hands and the room settled into one soundless hush. Brooke reached the altar with practiced serenity, veil diffusing the light so her face looked calm enough to make anyone doubt they'd ever known a storm. Her fingers slid into mine, cool and steady. "We're here," she whispered. The word warm as a blanket slid over a sleeping child. "We are," I said, feeling the boutonniere brush my jaw when I turned, a small fabric whisper against skin. "Dearly beloved," Reverend Hale began, voice round and sure, "we are—" The crowd released a single ripple of breath, and then stilled, as if the room itself had decided to listen for a different kind of sentence. "Before vows," I said softly, not loud, not a performance, just enough to cross the space between us all. Brooke's hand tightened once. "Please don't," she whispered, and the plea was honest and sharp, the kind that leaves marks. Reverend Hale inclined his head, a measured nod. "Let truth be spoken simply," he said. I turned to the guests only with my voice, not my body. "Vows require names that are true," I said. "A lab has confirmed a paternal mismatch, and a legal chain of custody has been documented. I cannot say father at this altar under a name that doesn't belong to me or my brother. I won't show papers. I won't make a spectacle. I'm asking for dignity while we correct what's been wrong." The crowd reacted once, a quiet ripple moving through silk and suits, the smallest lift of shoulders and intake of breath, then silence again, the quartet finding a single held note and holding it like a thread. Brooke's eyes shone, not with tears yet, but with something brittle and bright. "You had a purpose," she said under her breath, perfect lips barely moving. "Purpose isn't consent," I said, the words even as river stones. She swallowed, and when she looked past me toward the center aisle, her face changed. No mask, no charm, only calculation collapsing into confession. "Lucas was a fuse," she whispered. "Everything he touched burned. I needed quiet. I needed your last name while the world stopped calling me a mistake. I needed a man who wouldn't shatter." "Needing isn't the same as asking," I said. "I asked you with a life," she said. "I asked you with dinners and bedtimes and school forms. You said yes every time." "Because I didn't know what I was saying yes to," I said. "Truth makes consent real." Reverend Hale held the book against his chest, his thumb marking a page that suddenly didn't matter. "Vows require truth," he said quietly. "The officiant's one reaction, nothing more, nothing less." Brooke's voice thinned, the ice inside it showing. "Say your piece and step back," she said. "Don't burn the room." "I'm not a match," I said. "I'm a boundary." Jenna stood in the front row, chin high, eyes shining. "I accessed the trust," she said, voice clear and small at once, a reluctant truth pushed into air. "I was afraid. I thought I was protecting him." "Protection doesn't steal," I said, not unkindly. Martin raised a hand from the aisle end, just once. "I drove her," he said, his confession simple as a car key placed on a table. "The month Noah was conceived, I drove Brooke to a clinic. I should have told the truth sooner." Brooke didn't flinch at his voice. She only breathed out a laugh so small it almost wasn't there. "Everyone's noble when the music's playing," she murmured. I took one step back from the altar, not dramatic, just enough that my shoes found a new patch of stone, cooler than the last. The boutonniere brushed my jaw again, a soft insistence that I was, in fact, a body making a choice. "I won't say vows today," I said to Reverend Hale, "not with names that aren't true." He nodded once, grief and respect sharing space on his face. "Then we will not proceed." Brooke's eyes finally filled, tears balancing without falling. "You think this is justice," she said, voice a wire pulled tight. It's just you choosing to be right instead of kind. Kindness without truth is theater, I said, and my hands were steady, palms open, fingers warm with returning blood. She looked toward the pew where Noah sat, his small suit jacket too big at the shoulders, his feet not touching the floor. "Don't look at him," she whispered. "You'll make him a stage." "I'm not looking at the audience," I said. "I'm looking at my son." The word came out and stayed, not as a claim of blood, but an oath of presence. "Biology disagrees," she said, and the hurt in it was almost clean. "Biology isn't love," I said, "but it is a fact, and we won't build a vow on a bent foundation." For a moment, everything narrowed, to sound, the faint scrape of a chair leg, the silk sigh of a veil shifting, the quiet hum of the church lights, even the soft exhale of the string players as their bows hovered. "Postpone," Brooke said to Reverend Hale, voice elegant again, mask re-lacquered in a heartbeat. He hesitated once, the officiant's one and only pause, then shook his head a fraction. "Vows cannot be spoken under disputed names," he said. "We will dismiss with prayer." Brooke's mouth trembled. "You're humiliating me," she said to me, and then the tremble vanished. "You're humiliating yourself." "Humiliation is a performance," I said. "Truth is oxygen." I turned one shoulder toward the front row, knelt, the stone cool through my suit pant at the knee, my palm finding the pew edge, warm from hands. Noah's eyes were wide, confused but trusting, his breath sweet with the mint the usher had slipped him. "Hey," I said softly, voice built for small rooms and bedtime stories. "Bridges are careful." He nodded once, slow. "Careful," he echoed. I stood and faced Reverend Hale again. "Please, dismiss us," I said. "We'll speak to family in the side room. No spectacle." He closed the book. "May truth guide and gentleness guard," he said, and the words moved through the room like warm air, not a benediction so much as a boundary set in sentences. When the quartet lowered their bows, the silence didn't shatter. It settled, like dust in clean light. One reaction, then stillness. Exactly enough. In the vestry, away from the amber spill, the air cooled. The walls smelled faintly of old wood and starch. Claire waited with a manila folder and eyes that knew exactly how to be strong without noise. "Spare," she said. "2 documents only." I handed Reverend Hale a single page. Chain of custody statement with intake time and audit note. Preliminary lab line excluding Ethan and Lucas as paternal relatives. No photos, no bank alerts, no names beyond the ones already in the room. He read, lips moving once as his eyes scanned, then folded the paper and gave it back. "Enough," he said. Brooke stood, bouquet forgotten on a chair, hands empty and restless. "You cornered me with timetables and paperwork," she said, voice low and dangerous. "You built a case instead of building a home." "I built a home," I said. "I'm keeping it from termites." Jenna leaned against the paneled wall, her earlier defenses gone, a different woman standing in their place. "I took from the trust," she said, the admission new-shaped in her mouth. "I told myself it was for him. It was for me, because secrets are heavy and lawyers are expensive." "Repay it," I said. "We'll make a plan. We'll put it on paper. We'll stop pretending that good intentions pay interest." Martin hovered near the doorway, hands twisted together, shoulders a little smaller than they'd been yesterday. "I'm sorry," he said again, and the words didn't fix anything, but they didn't hurt either. Brooke's shoulders lifted, as if she were preparing to carry something enormous. "If you walk away now," she said, "you'll prove every small-town whisper right. You'll be the man who made a child into a test result." "I'm the man who refuses to make him into a lie," I said. She stared at me for 3 beats, as if memorizing the shape of the man she'd hoped to keep under a different name. Then she laughed once, the sound dry as paper. "You always loved the right thing more than you loved me," she said. "I loved us enough to stop pretending," I said. Claire's hand brushed my sleeve, a quiet anchor. "We're done," she murmured. "Downfall happens on its own time. You don't need to narrate it." I nodded. The righteous calm held. It had a pulse now, slow and sure. Not triumph, not yet. Just the absence of panic. Reverend Hale opened the door a fraction, letting in a wash of cooler air and the far-off click of heels on tile. "I'll address the guests," he said, briefly. "Thank you," I said. Brooke picked up the bouquet and crushed one white rose between her fingers without meaning to, petals bruising quietly, the scent flashing sharp and then fading. "You win," she said, and it sounded like surrender only to someone who didn't know her. "This wasn't a game," I said. She lifted her veil with one small, irritated motion, light scattering across the room. "It always is," she said. "You just hate the word." I didn't answer. Some lines don't need a reply. They land, and then the room moves around them toward the next true thing. When the door opened wider, the hallway smelled like wax and air that had been prayed into for 100 years. I stepped through with Claire, the packet a calm square of weight against my ribs, the fabric of my jacket whispering as if to say, boundary, not blade. "Type justice, if vows mean names," I said under my breath, a final tether to the choice already made. Then I let even that go. Outside, in the main aisle, Noah stood with a small frown, thumb worrying the edge of the ring pillow ribbon he'd practiced with all week. I crouched and smoothed the ribbon once, the fabric soft and familiar. "We're okay," I said. "We're careful." "Careful," he said, and the word was a bridge we could both still walk. "You can still call me Dad," I said, the word finding a new place to live in my chest as the church thinned into murmurs and the quartet quietly cased their bows. Noah looked up at me, thumb tight on the ring pillow ribbon. "Will it hurt?" he asked, voice small as a button. "Not if we walk it together," I said. "Then we walk," he whispered, and the ribbon eased under his thumb. Brooke stood a few paces away, bouquet lowered, veil lifted, eyes bright with a heat that had nothing to do with tears. "You've made your point," she said, voice fine as wire. "What do you want now, Ethan? A medal?" "I want paperwork that matches the life we're actually living," I said. "Custody, therapy for him, boundaries for the rest of us." She laughed once, thin. "Therapy for a lab result?" "Therapy for a story that changed shape," I said. Jenna stepped closer, spine softer than it had been in days. "I'll repay the trust," she said, the vow stripped of grandeur. "Monthly, with interest. I'll put it in writing." "Good," I said. "We'll do it clean." Reverend Hale touched Brooke's arm lightly. "There is a quiet room ready at the inn," he said. "If dignity is the goal, use it. 10 minutes, 3 voices, no audience." Brooke's jaw worked. "3 voices," she repeated. "Not a tribunal." "3," I said. "You, me, Claire. Reverend to witness. Martin and Jenna can wait." She glanced at Noah. For a moment, something honest cracked through. The girl from a decade ago, drowning and asking the world to be softer. Then it was gone. "Fine," she said. 10 minutes. We walked the side corridor. The air was cooler there, clean with lemon oil and old wood. My hand stayed at Noah's back, steady heat through thin cotton. The sound of the main hall dimmed behind us until only the click of our shoes marked time. In the parlor, Claire already had 3 chairs set in a quiet triangle, a small carafe of water on a tray, and a legal pad balanced on her knee. "Simple terms," she said. "Custody, status quo. Medical and counseling decisions joint for now. Financial boundaries explicit. Review in 90 days. Brooke folded her hands in her lap. No public statements, she said. No social media. No performances. Agreed, I said. No spectacle. School stays normal, she said. No custody disruptions that make him explain adult choices. Agreed, I said. We'll walk him through this with kindness. Reverend Hale sat with hands folded, eyes on the smallest things. The way my foot tapped. The way Brooke's fingers worried the bouquet ribbon she'd brought without noticing. Names can be corrected, he said softly. Love is not undone by ink. Brooke breathed out. You said you wouldn't name anyone from that month, she said, eyes on me, chin lifted like a dare. I won't, I said. This is about the promise I make to a child, not a hunt. Claire's pen moved once. Then we have terms, she said. I'll draft an interim agreement and send to council by afternoon. Make it happen, I said. Brooke stood. For a second, she looked like she might say thank you. Then pride rearranged her mouth. You're not noble, she said. You're tidy. Tidy keeps children safe, I said. We stepped into the hallway. The world widened again. Carpet, framed photographs, the faint sound of a vacuum far away. Noah looked up at me, eyes steady. Do we still have spaghetti on Tuesdays? He asked. We do, with too much cheese. He smiled, a small, strong thing, and leaned into my side. The simple weight of him was the truest sentence in the building. Back in the nave, guests were leaving in polite murmurs, Sunday smiles pasted over Saturday shock. Martin hovered near the door. Contrition softened into usefulness. I'll drive Jenna, he said quietly. We'll start the repayment paperwork tonight. Good, I said. Email Claire. Jenna stepped in front of me, and for once her hand found my arm not to steer or stall, but to steady. I thought protecting meant keeping still, she said. I think it means moving now. It means telling the truth when the room is listening. She nodded. Then I'll listen. Outside, the day had softened. The wind lifted a corner of the welcome mat at the church door and let it fall. Cars turned over one by one, tired lights blinking like tired eyes. The smell of cut grass was back, green and ordinary and good. Brooke walked past without looking at me, bouquet stem wrapped in damp ribbon, jaw set for a different fight. She didn't speak. That was a kind of mercy, too. In the car, Noah buckled in and kicked his heels once, a soft drum. Can we get ice cream? He asked. Chocolate, I said, and sprinkles. It's a law. He laughed, small and real. At home, the kitchen still smelled like old roses and yesterday's coffee. I set the packet on the counter and wrote one more thing on the legal pad. Love is the name you keep showing up under. Then I tore the page off and slid it into a drawer with the neatly labeled envelopes, not because I needed a record, but because neatness calms storms. Noah leaned into the fridge, cool air spilling out in a quiet rush. We have sprinkles, he announced. Justice tastes like rainbow sugar, I said, and he giggled, even if he didn't get the joke. That night, when the house was blue and soft, I sat on the edge of his bed and listened to the slow climb of his breath into sleep. I remembered the first night I ever held him, milk breath and soft weight, terrified that I was a fraud pretending to be a father. The fear had a different shape now, but the job didn't. Quiet planning had carried me here. Righteous calm kept me from saying more than needed. Victorious dignity was smaller than expected, and purer. It sounded like a child asking for spaghetti on Tuesday and trusting the answer. At the doorway, I paused, hand on the frame, wood smooth with years. The house hummed. The roses on the island were browning at the edges, their sweetness turning honest. Share your own endings, I said into the dark, the words a simple bridge to anyone who needed one. When truth costs a name, what name does love choose? Tell sweet revenge stories, and let it be clean.